if you're using inventory in QuickBooks, there is a specific way to do it successfully, and your best bet is to find an option besides QuickBooks if you have very much inventory at all, and I've spoken about this previously. If you don't have a lot of inventory, but you are selling things that are repeat sales, like widgets that are sold again and again and again, but it's not a high volume and you don't have a lot of particulars about inventory, then QuickBooks could work for you. So to start out with the inventory process, you would actually start out by potentially creating a purchase order by which you would send this to your vendor and say, I want to acquire all of these things at these certain prices, and then you can send it to your vendor, and then eventually you receive the inventory either with a bill or without a bill. So if you receive just the inventory, you're able to, or excuse me, if you receive the bill, you're able to say that the bill is now here, and here's the bill, and it relates to the inventory that will be on hand and available. And then when you receive the inventory without a bill, you can identify, you can check off that you have received each inventory segment, and anything you have not received, it won't be checked, and you can identify or verify quantities and everything, and save and close this, and then it puts the purchases that you made into your inventory. After that, you may enter a bill into QuickBooks, but regardless, you have now entered your inventory in QuickBooks by line item, and then entered your bill for that inventory into QuickBooks, and you'll later be ready to pay bills. So that's how you get inventory into QuickBooks when you're purchasing it. There's, going back to the screen here, there's also the ability to create a new item. So if you're creating an inventory part, you might identify whatever specifics you want about that inventory, and that is entirely your call, like if you want the manufacturer's part numbers and such like that. QuickBooks uses the average cost method for valuing inventory. So one inventory costs you $10 and then the other inventory costs you $8, and you bought the same quantity of both, your average cost would be $9. So it will use that cost at the time that you create an invoice to sell 100 widgets at $9 a piece, and it will literally take that much out of cost of goods sold, out of inventory, and put it in as cost of goods sold at the time you create an invoice. So you could identify cost of goods sold accounts and the preferred vendor for buying. Normally these are going to be taxable, and the income account that would go with any kind of particular inventory that you sell. You can put in reorder amounts, and QuickBooks will then let you know, oh, you're needing to order, you're at a minimum quantity on hand, and so you can create inventory, new items in QuickBooks. Occasionally inventory needs to be adjusted, and when you adjust inventory, you use this screen right here, and you would input the inventory item that you have, and it says there's 243 on hand, and you would input that there's more on hand than what you had, or that there's less on hand than what you thought you had, and this will make an adjustment to your cost of goods sold account as an inventory adjustment transaction, and it will create essentially a journal entry. You can always go back and change, edit, or delete it. You use cost of goods sold to do that transaction, or you can create an inventory adjustment account is the process. All right, so once you have adjusted inventories on hand, sold inventory, and it's time to do a physical inventory count at the end of the year. And so you can literally print these and take them out to your staff or yourself and start counting all of the inventory, put the correct inventory things on the sheet of paper, and it gives you the sheets to do that. Then you can go right into your inventory adjustment and make an adjustment for it. Another option for you is to build assemblies. So if you had a bunch of small parts that turned into a bigger item, you could create a widget here that you would have to give it a new inventory assembly name, and you put all the details in here and save and close it. Once you create that, you could say, I'm going to use 10 of this, 5 of this, 4 of this, 3 of this, and of all these different things, the quantity I use, and it's going to create like one item for me. And you can put memos and notes in there, and then say build and close, and then that will appear as a new inventory item for you on your item list, to which you can then go and sell. So there are no inventory assemblies here, but it would create there's one. So this one right here is the conglomerate of these particular inventory items that cost that much. 3 of these, one of those creates this item that has a total cost of $71. That's the idea, and from all those independent parts, you create a bulk inventory item, and you're able to then sell it as an assembly. Okay. Finally, with inventory, it is usable in QuickBooks to do inventory, but the better option for most users is to use a point-of-sale system. So the reason is because you can use a different inventory valuation method, like LIFO or FIFO, instead of weighted average, if you know the details about inventory. Another reason is that it will do a much better job of keeping track of quantities for you. The POS system that you would purchase, whether it's QuickBooks or another, would also allow you to create some very detailed things for customers when they're purchasing lots of inventory and you're keeping track of all these things. And so it's just a more user-friendly and viable option if you're doing a lot of stuff with inventory. But for the simplified inventory activities, this kind of system would work.